Good morning and welcome. This is Sunrise Daily. I'm Ayo Makinde. Today is November, beg your pardon, November 19. It's 28 degrees here in Lagos, and amidst all of the issues we are talking about in the world, guess what? It's International Men's Day. And of all the things to be talking about, is celebrating men and boys. It is ironic that a good number of the issues, while the International Men's Day is being marked, it is ironic that a good number of the issues we're going to be discussing today have a thing or two to do with men, because most of the dramatis personae in all of these issues are men. And these are some of the things that we'll be talking about this morning. We'll be having some crossover with some of our colleagues also to let us know exactly what is happening. But there is that issue that is also already on the burner, and that is the issue of the abductions in Kebbi State. Anyway, I'm not alone on the show this morning. Markwe, good morning.
Good morning, Ayo, and good morning to our viewers. It is 29 degrees Celsius in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Welcome to Sunrise Daily. I was going to say almost every day is International Men's Day, especially when you look at how they dominate the news and the headlines. But this morning, we're also keeping tabs on what is happening with the National Association of Resident Doctors, who are still on strike, and it's day 19 of the strike of the National Association of Resident Doctors. We're also keeping count on the girls who have been abducted now in Kebbi State, as you rightly mentioned, Ayo. Is day 2, or shall I say day 3, of the kidnap of the girls in Maga, Danko, Wasagu local government area of Kebbi State. So quite a number of things to keep tabs on, as well as the PDP secretariat, because for those who have been monitoring the news and keeping their eyes on Udenta Plaza, they know what went down yesterday. And guess what? All the personalities there were men. So what a way. I know that there are a lot of issues affecting men, but unfortunately, I mean, just take a look at the pictures, and I'm not exaggerated. If you do see a woman there, it will most likely be a very brave female reporter. Most times, all of the dramatis personae are men. So here we go. We're still going to be keeping tabs on the Udenta Plaza today, because we understand that what happened yesterday is not going to be a one-off. In other words, both factions are going to try and seize control of the Udenta Plaza. But yesterday, the Aminu Turaki leadership, which emerged from Ibadan, prevailed, so to speak, because they were able to hold their meetings, they were able to speak to the press, and we understand that the people of the other faction had to drive away. So let us see what eventually happens today. Will the police be there? Will sanity reign? How will all of this be resolved? Because don't forget that yesterday, the Aminu Turaki-led chairmanship had expelled some members of the party in Ibadan, and they did not expect to see those members at the Udenta Plaza. But yesterday, Senator Samuel Ayanwu, who has been secretary of the party for some time, says his tenure only elapses on December the 8th, and so they're still very much in authority. And he says that they have now also expelled some members of the party. He read a communique of sorts, expelling members whom he named. Yeah, quite a number of them were named yesterday. So we're still going to be keeping tabs on what transpired. But for those who missed what happened yesterday, here is a report.
Our police, they protect politicians.
As early as 7 a.m. on Tuesday, November the 18th, the Udenta Plaza, the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party, witnessed a heavy security presence, including the police, the Department of State Services, and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The The two groups had scheduled to hold their meetings within the premises on the same day at the same time. At the gate, access is highly restricted, supervised by private security and the police. Inside the premises, members belonging to the camp loyal to the party's national secretary, Mr. Samuel Anyanwu, appear to enjoy some exclusivity, with Mr. Anyanwu occupying the office of the national secretary. They had scheduled to hold their board of trustees meeting within the premises.
I wrote to all the security agencies on the 14th of November 2025 that we're going to have a BOT at NEC meeting, emergency NEC meeting here. I wrote to INEC as well, which they acknowledged. I'm the national secretary of the party. My office is still running until 8th of December. On the 8th of December. So, ordinarily, I'm doing my function.
We have come to have a meeting of, first of all, the BOTs who are the conscience of the party. And thereafter, we'll go into the NEC, where decisions and resolutions will be taken and agreed upon. So it's in line with the party constitution, especially when the Federal High Court, 2 judgments have said so. So because those of us who are here today are law-abiding, we are the true party people. The other people who are threatening, on social media to do all manner of things, we don't know about them.
However, the atmosphere became tense following the arrival of the National Working Committee of the party, led by the newly elected national chairman, Mr. Tanimu Turaki, who is accompanied by the governors of Bauchi and Oyo states. The group had scheduled to hold their inaugural National Working Committee meeting. Attempts to deny them access leads to a clash among supporters from both sides. Eventually, the team made their way into the premises, but not without some sweat.
We are surprised to come at the point when the president allowed us in, our chairman, president, and here we are. We are here to sit and see what we have been carried out as government. We have been molested in spite of our humility in time and whatever has needed in our own right to our chairman.
Tear gas rained at the Wadata Plaza as police fired canisters at supporters and everyone in sight, including journalists. Amidst the tension, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wiki, arrives. However, he did not alight from his vehicle for several hours and eventually left the premises. Violence erupted again when the Turaki-led executive learned about an ongoing meeting by the Anyanwu-led Board of Trustees led by Mr. Mao Ohabonwa. For a moment, the premises was thrown into disarray as members of the Mao Ohabonwa-led Board of Trustees, along with the former governor of Benue State, are chased out of the hall. Supporters belonging to the Anyanwu and Ohabonwa camp tried to fight back.
I want to thank all of you for your resilience.
Eventually, the national chairman of the party, Mr. Turaki, was able to access his office.
So this struggle, no doubt, is a continuing one. Yes. We will continue. We will remain relentless. We should continue to fight. But I want to call on the president. If there's anybody that wants peace in any given society, it should be the leadership. The president should call his minister to order. The kind of conduct that the Minister of the FCT had gotten himself engaged in this morning, leading to this afternoon, is unbecoming.
Nevertheless, the two groups from the People's Democratic Party did not proceed with their scheduled meetings as they continue to battle for the soul of the party.
As I did say earlier, we will be bringing you up to speed with events at the Udenta Plaza today when our correspondent, Friday Okirigbe, joins us. But right now in our studios, we have Professor Odenta here, who is the founding National Secretary of Alliance for Democracy. And some people say that at the very heart, oh, sorry, I have to say, Happy International Men's Day.
Thank you so much. I've been excited with the conversation so far.
My head, on the platter of silver.
Absolutely.
But here we are. Yes. This is a conversation that is now, well, I say, is now digging down to democracy. Because some people say at the heart of what we're looking at here is conversation around Nigeria's democracy. Yes, we're looking at a fight for the soul of the PDP. Will it survive? Will it not survive? We had seen a slew, or will I say a plethora of court judgments given a week prior to the holding of the convention in Ibadan. But that convention, defiant as ever, went on, it held, and now we're seeing the leadership that emerged from that convention going to stake their claim at the Udenta Plaza. We're also seeing that the other people who said there will be no convention, the Anyanwu faction, say that there was not going to be any convention. As a matter of fact, they took an announcement. They announced to members of the PDP that it had been cancelled. You know, these are some of the things that we saw. So they were also there at the Udenta Plaza, and they have now announced their own list of expulsion, and the battle goes on. And I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are wondering, how will this all end? And how will this affect our democracy? Can you make a projection?
Well, thanks for having me, and hello, Nigerians. I'm happy the way you framed this conversation as a struggle for the soul, not just of a party, but for the direction, the content and direction of our democracy. It's still a very young democracy, 26 years in the making, so it's still nascent in a way. The institutions are not very strong. You know, the structural mechanisms underpinning these institutions are still wobbly sometimes. Sometimes it's not even a nation of laws that we have, but a nation of men, again, men implicated in this kind of drama. Because PDP is a legacy party, that is why it is commanding this kind of interest. Smaller parties, for example, born years after this in the democratic run, may not command this kind of presence. PDP is in every home in Nigeria, in every village, in every hamlet. So whatever happens to it actually affects the overall health of our democracy. So it's important that people are worried about what is going on in the party. But I'm not going to dwell today substantially on the intra-party crisis, the factional battles, well deposited in the media. People know. I'm going to look at the role of state institutions and agencies, either in containing this crisis or driving this crisis. We take INEC, for example. The Damagu-led NWC, before the convention, wrote to INEC and said, we have suspended 4 members or so of our NWC. INEC acknowledged it later. Then Abdurrahman emerged as the factional chairman and wrote to INEC and said, we don't recognize this other suspension. We too have suspended certain characters in the NWC. Respect our views. I'm the new national chairman. But INEC has a very well-resourced legal department, as it should. Because electoral processes and elections and parties are full of litigations. We're a litigious society when it comes to parties and elections and so on. So the legal department is well developed. And they have deep bench in terms of external consultants and legal contractors who help them. Within 48 hours, INEC has a capacity to issue an opinion. INEC did issue an opinion today on the leadership trust before the courts even weighed in. Because INEC is dragged to every case a party has. INEC is not going to wait on the court to say, oh, what do you say? INEC has a position. When it comes to the INEC legal representative, this is INEC's stand on this matter. It's not that INEC is mumu to say, it's what the court says we will do. What INEC stands for may be wrong ultimately, but they have to stand on something. We have to ask INEC, using the instrumentality of this platform here, what is INEC's position on the leadership crisis in PDP before the convention?
Especially because it's a regulator.
As a regulator. Yes. Because if INEC, like my brother, Professor Mamadi said, I read in the other day, said, if INEC had done its job, this is where we stand, right or wrong, based on our own legal scrutiny of the issues. Damagu is the chairman because we know that IU was a chairman. He left as a chairman. Damagu failed that position. We cannot see any compelling legal ground to remove him. If you make that pronouncement, you can even say that the secretary was not duly suspended or suspended. But do something. He didn't do something. That's the first strategic failure of the Professor Mopitan-led INEC. Because, as I said, the Oka election, the produced Professor Odenta for a second term, was not of his own making. It was already baked in. He had to finalize it. But this one is actually the first text, and people are not talking about it. So INEC silence is very, very crucial to the drama at Udenta Plaza, to the complication that engulf the party. That's number one. Number two, the police.
Just before you get to the police, do you think they're speaking silently, though? Because there were claims that INEC was not at the Ibadan convention.
I'm coming to that. INEC sent a lawyer to the Ibadan court and said, we have other court decisions in Abuja stopping us from monitoring this convention, which is not a legal, serious legal issue anyway, because if you have the 21-day notice, INEC may monitor or not monitor, it doesn't matter. The court said, I will not rule for you today on the eve of the convention. I will rule after. So it was INEC decision, like I said, to say, we will not attend the convention for certain compelling legal reasons we have. So if INEC could reach that conclusion, that we will not attend the convention, why will INEC reach a conclusion about the leadership crisis in the party well ahead of that convention? As it is its own right as a regulator. If INEC calls a meeting of PDP today, calls a meeting of the political parties, who would INEC invite from the PDP? Damagu, the original chairman, Turaki, the elected chairman, or Abdurrahman? That silence is very crucial because it is giving a lot of people concern that why are you created and brought in to do this in INEC? This is a very clear signal that you must be courageous to take a decision, no matter how palatable it may be.
Okay.
You now go to the police.
Indeed.
Turaki, the new INEC, the new PDP chairman, went to the police. Everybody saw it and said, we are worried that some people who are not members of our party are advertising a meeting of Udenta Plaza. We want to let you know, put it on notice, that we have a proper meeting constituted by the party to hold a center, same time, like your reporter pointed out. For me, the objective thing for the police to do with me, here is this group about to hold a meeting at Udenta Plaza. Here is another group about to hold a meeting at Udenta Plaza. Same day, same time. You err on the side of caution. That means even if I respect and recognize you, Tanimu Turaki's son as the chairman of the party, but I'm fearful there will be confrontation and maybe a bloodbath or breaking of law and order. You shut down the secretariat. That's the worst you could have done. Cut down the place overnight so that by early morning nobody will have access. I asked him when I asked Nigerians, the Anyango faction were there almost 5 a.m. in the morning. And there's police in Abuja, DSS in Abuja. How did they get entry? When already a complaint had been laid a night before. I'm not for nor against. You should have shut the place. I didn't do it. You opened the doors for a faction to penetrate. And we saw it on the screen here. They were sitting comfortably before 7 a.m. Now before the other group came in there to take rightful their possession, the police commissioner, the deputy police commissioner who led the operation there, all the police people involved there, either they go through court-martial or indicted by the IGP and the police council. Look at the kind of tear gas canisters from governors, former governors. We know what happened to Chibok Adibo some 2 decades or so ago. Tear gas inhalation, casually thrown everywhere. So the second institution failed woefully, the police. Now we'll come to the third institution. Mugbe, and everybody watching. The president of a country, our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, appointed ministers, special advisors, heads of commissions, director generals, and maybe soon, if they wake up from slumber, ambassadors. They're all answerable to the president. The moment you accept a job as a minister of the Federal Republic, you speak for the president, you act for the president, you represent the president. Let us do some issues of enlightenment and education here. Yesterday, on the news on weekend, the minister of FCT did not go to Udenta Plaza. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, went there. It is not the minister that went there. It is the president that you saw there. He is a man under authority, like you have in the Bible. Not selected authority, total authority. He is bound by the president, presidential directive. If he had a meeting in the Congress, in the conference hall of FCT, it's the president that held that meeting. If he comes to this studio to do a one-on-one with you or with a group of media, it's the president, not him, the minister. So these attacks on weekend, please get off it. He's answerable to the president who has permitted him to do his will. So in that sense, you find the situation where exam public service rules domiciled in the presidency is very clear. And I read this to you, it's important for Nigerians. As a public servant, on Revolution Week can require explicit permission from his appointing authority, the CNC, before granting media interviews or issuing press statements. This to ensure that information disseminated is accurate, official, and consistent with presidential interests, FGM policy for national security reasons, particularly national stability. You have the chief of staff to the president. He's a gatekeeper. He keeps all the ministers, all the advisors in check. You have Hadiza Balosman, you know that, monitoring, evaluation, supervision. Every minister's statement must be carefully read by the presidential team. Every statement must be carefully vetted. Sometimes they even dictated to him. They even give him the text what to say. So if you see a minister appearing in public, grandstanding, talking, it is not the minister, it is the president. The minister has no life of his own except with his wife and children, Barakbon meetings with his village. Every other thing he does at the behest of the president.
All right, I'm sure that Ayo certainly want to take you up on that. Ayo, over to you.
So, Prof, just two very quick issues because I know that we are running out of time on this conversation already. And I'd like you to speak to them as quickly as you can. First of all, this limitless, endless PDP crisis, isn't it an admittance in a way that the PDP cannot manage its own affairs? And I mean, you are an expert in political affairs. Internal political issues shouldn't be a problem for a party that's been in existence, according to them, since 1998. And then added to that, the call by the chairman of the party, at least the chairman of the party from the convention in Ibadan, calling on the United States of America foreign body to come save Nigeria's democracy. How has an internal affair of a political party become an issue that another foreign government is expected to come intervene in?
Okay, very important questions Ayo you put across to me. Let me tackle them quickly and decisively. Number one, I've talked several fora, several platforms that conflicts are very organic and very important in the life of a party, in the life of organizations, in the life of individuals or group of individuals. There's nothing wrong with having conflict. Conflict actually is opportunity for you to solve a problem. So PDP is not like caught in a mess of unending crisis because it loves it so. If you have factional infighting in a party, it's normal. But how you manage it is very important. Even the Labour Party in Britain in power has factional issues with the Prime Minister struggling here and there. The problem is when you have an external force bearing down on the party, and it is very clear. Like the issue of the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, I have nothing in terms of personal relationship with him or against him. Bala Mohammed was a minister in 2010 from ANPP, appointed by a sitting PDP president. And the president, from the information available to me, said, stay in your party for a little while, be comfortable before you come to me. He stayed months as an ANPP minister of FCT, not just a small ministry, FCT, then decamped to PDP, as it should be. So when President Bola Ahmed appointed Nyesom Wike as a minister of FCT from the PDP, he has a right to hang in around there for a little while and then move straight on to APC, where his president is. If not, you see what is going on. He's going to Udenta Plaza as a member of PDP. He's working with the president of APC, who he wants re-elected. That kind of crisis will not end. But if you have a crisis between people who believe in the autonomy of space of PDP, who don't have any other force or power on top of them, beating over them like a dog, like a son of Damocles, the party can resolve the crisis. But when you have important individuals within the party who do not want to let go, at the same time want to enjoy the cake they've already eaten, the party PDP is a party now not out of power, struggling to survive as it were. APC is the party in power, bloated, and gorging itself on political governance and everything. If the minister, for example, has not gone on to APC, PDP is okay now, we can sort our problems internally. But because he wants his president to be re-elected 2027, that's why you find him, the president, at Udenta Plaza. It is not the Wike at Udenta Plaza. It's the president of the country. If not, you have sanctioned him today. You have to remove him from office or sanction him. But because he's not going to do so, it is him that is there.
All right.
Number two.
Mr. Odenta, just before you move to number 2, let me quickly bring in our correspondent, Friday Okerigbe, who is currently at the PDP Secretariat in Udenta Plaza in Wuse too. Friday, it's good to see you again this morning. I see that you are not wearing a vest. Is all at peace at the Udenta Plaza this morning?
Well, thank you so much. Definitely, I'm not sure with the at this point because nothing like what happened yesterday is actually happening. This is empty the position on site here. But we just noticed that the police has cordoned off the with very with barbed wires, a lot of barbed wire around the building to prevent anybody from and access into the building. So primarily, to see the police as soon as the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party. They just by sending there, but just of the barbed wire that were laying, I don't know. I wish with a camera and CPN like 6 or 5 feet high, and the trenches around the building, which we will not be less maybe 200 meters the length of the bar which they using the cooling of the building. So that is the situation. No member of either group claiming the leadership of the party are here, whether the principals or their supporters of them is side at this point.
All right, Friday, we really struggle to hear what it is that you are saying, but I think that we can see that right behind you, we can see that barbed wire has been laid on the ground. I think that's what you're trying to show us. Perimeter fencing of barbed wire has now been laid around the PDP Udenta Plaza, as our correspondent Friday Okerigbe is currently showing to us. Well, Friday, we'll see how we can work on your audio, and perhaps we can have you back to, give us a very clear description of what it is that you're currently seeing on the ground. But thank you for your reporting. Professor Odenta, you were saying that place should have been shut down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
My take even on the Turaki-led, ESCO of the party is that, look, as symbolic as it is, it's important to have your Udenta Plaza because the symbolism of the party's power, majesty, and influence. I ran AD, and Alliance for Democracy, for 6 months from a hotel room when it was fashionable infighting. I'm used to fashionable infighting in parties. It's not like a big deal. Where you are as a secretariat is where you are is where the secretariat is. So if there's going to be conflict or confusion or combustible situation or bloodshed at Udenta Plaza, shut it down. They should have done so yesterday, but permitting that young faction in the early morning, this CP or the DCP or whoever led that charge should be called to order. Then on the issue of this externalization of our democratic struggles at home, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. 2014, Jonathan suffered Chibok, remember, kidnap. Bring Back the Gears was born at Unity Plaza, which had been gated, shut down by the DSS today. He can't even protest anymore. He allowed the protest. Michelle Obama wore a T-shirt globally. She popularized it. Again, Kerry came to Nigeria. And the governors of the ADC, the point is that America is a big power. Nigeria has this mentality that when a big power is there watching over you, like Christian genocide and so on, appeal to them to come and help you. That the other side, like already the presidency reacting, maybe in fright, maybe in panic with all the genocide issues on their neck. So now PDP is talking about genocide of democracy. Yes, he's calling that because the party is desperate. He wants to be on their neck. Let our neck, let us breathe. My final take is that maybe those in the presidency do not even know the powers of the president. It covers all the ministers. Maybe the minister and his team don't even know that he can't come on the studio and speak anyhow. You're speaking for the president. He's actually the president. So next time around, it will not be this conversational or this enlightening. Gloves will be off. And we call the president to order. Whenever the minister comes, we say, no, it's not the minister here. It is the president of the Federal Republic who is there talking or doing the stuff he's doing.
All right, Professor Odenta, we have to thank you so much for coming on Sunrise today. This one, we wish we had a little more time, but sadly we don't. He's the founding national secretary of the Alliance for Democracy. Thank you so much for
speaking with us this morning. Glad to be with you as always.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, this conversation continues, particularly around Nigeria's democracy, as the APC, as Professor Odenta noted, is expanding and the PDP continues to struggle for internal supremacy. In just a moment, please stay with us. Well, I did say that we're keeping tabs on Nigeria's democracy, and this morning we have in our studios Mr. Abdul Oyakire, who is he's a member of the City Boy movement in Edo State. Thank you for coming on the program. We also have with us Mr. Obede Ifaluyi Isibo, who is the former commissioner, Digital Economy, Science and Technology in Edo State, and also the organizing secretary of the PDP in the state. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Well, gentlemen, we're looking at this particular issue. The APC seems to be expanding. Yesterday, we saw the governor of, I think it was Taraba State, who was saying that he's postponed indefinitely his rally joining the All Progressives Congress because of solidarity with the president to, let's say, wait until maybe the girls who have been abducted in Kebbi State are returned. But nonetheless, people are watching and they're worried about the state of Nigeria's democracy. There have been talks around a one-party state, and this talk has been on for quite a while, I think since last year, when the president visited the National Assembly, and the president had a tongue-in-cheek response, to that particular issue. But nonetheless, the conversation has gone on, especially as we see more and more governors defect to the All Progressives Congress. Are you worried? Let me ask you, Mr. Obede Ifaluyi Isibo.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me. Are we worried about governors leaving the PDP to the APC? As an individual, yes, I'm worried about governors leaving. But as a party, we're not worried because governors leaving is not the same as the people leaving. The people are the ones who truly own the party. The people who are the ones who truly own the power. They decide who gets elected and not individuals like governors. We've seen before where governors who were even on the ballot lost elections woefully in Nigeria, where they were defeated by people who didn't even have elected officials in their party. We saw it at the last election. So that governors are leaving because they are afraid of not getting re-elected, because they are not comfortable with the ability of the presidency to decide who wins an election in Nigeria. I think it's shameful. We ought to be, as a people, express our shame, if you allow me to use that governors who ought to be delivering dividends of democracy to the people are even more worried about re-election. And not just that, they don't have confidence any longer in the electoral system. They don't have confidence that the people's votes will count, because they've seen the situation where we have had strong men in Nigeria today who now decide the outcome of elections. We saw it happen in Edo State, where the president has had an interaction with APC members, and he said, I will give you Edo State, without recourse to the Edo people, without recourse to the voters, without recourse to the wish of the Edo people. And we saw it happen. The president eventually gave them Edo State. And so governors are afraid that even if we have a democracy, or we pretend to have a democracy, we cannot vouch for the votes of the people that should count at the election. And that's why you're seeing governors, some of who do not even need to get re-elected, are running to the APC because they're afraid, they're pressured, they're coerced, and that is not how democracy should be. So to the question, we are not, the Nigerian people are ashamed that we're seeing this happen, because the idea is to have a one-party state. And it will not happen in Nigeria, because there are people in Nigeria who feel that the vitality of democracy is enshrined in a multi-party state.
I don't know how you respond to that, Mr. Oyakire. This City Boy movement, has it really taken root in Edo State? Because there are those who say that they still remember what happened in the 2019 elections in Edo State, where the people of Edo rejected the APC and said, Edo no be Lagos. So this City Boy thing, we understand, came from Lagos. Has it taken root in Edo State?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, Nigerians. Before I respond to that, I would like to speak on the issue of governors leaving the PDP. I think the analogy that best suits that illustration will be the dead horse theory. So you see, there is this theory when you do business administration where they tell you that if you continue to flog an object continuously thinking that it is going to work, you continue to recycle the same old ideas thinking it is going to work, you will eventually wake up to the reality someday that you've been overtaken by events, by the tide of history. The PDP, over the years, may have been a formidable force, but in the recent past, PDP has become a shadow of itself. Its method has become obsolete. Its political style and leadership style has become irrelevant to the political dynamics of today. And the talk of having a one-party system, you see, back in 2023, the discussion was, oh, Nigerians are going to reject the President Bola Tinubu administration for the changes it is bringing on board, particularly with the removal of subsidy on day one of the administration. But over time, it has now snowballed away from that. It is now a discussion of, oh, the president seems to be capturing everyone. It is not capturing, basically. When you have an idea, you see, ideas rule the world, and a lot of people are beginning to key into the ideas of Mr. President. These governors, some of these governors do not even have an election to run for, but they are keying into the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, which we have seen hover around in the country. So I think the PDP should be wary. They should wake up from the dead horse mantra that they still are flogging. From every activity you see, I mean, Nigerians are mourning. We are mourning the death of our Brigadier General Mba in Borno State. We are mourning the kidnap of girls that were kidnapped. To this minute, we have not heard a statement from the PDP apologizing for the inferno that took place yesterday at their secretariat. I don't think the media space should be agog today with PDP's internal crisis when we have things like that happening. I mean, even the alleged factional chairman, Turaki, was speaking with a picture of Damagun behind him, and two governors were sitting there. So that tells you a lot of disorganization is still going on within the party, and I think it will be foolhardy, just like George Orwell said in his book, Animal Farm, to continue to blame Snowball. They have turned the APC and the president into the snowball that they will continue to blame for the internal wrangling. It is about personal interest, and they are not seeming to see the problem of Nigerians. They are not concerned about what Nigeria is going through. Their concern is about what is going on within the party. I mean, I followed with
now to the question of City Boy movement.
Yeah, if we were to talk about the City Boy movement, it's beyond a political front. It is a movement that engages in not just political activities, basically, but empowerment. I mean, last month we had a program, thanks to the director of the movement in Edo State, Dr. Paddy Emmanuel Iyamu. We had a program where we empowered youth. We had over 10,000 youths coming in one venue. I mean, the Minister for Youth was even present in Benin, even though we were able to empower the 200 we had anticipated. But programs like that will continue. We had a market program where we find the State Director, Dr. Paddy Iyamu, entering the market himself. We all were in the market, empowering market women, giving them hope, empowering their businesses without collateral, without bringing anything forward. So I think the City Boy movement is like a stopgap to begin to mitigate some of the, and cushion some of the effects that we are having in terms of the economy. Mind you, the economy wasn't always like this. In fact, it is taking an upturn right now. If you look at the economy in the past, and if you go to Edo State, a lot is going on in Edo State. A lot of reforms are going on in Edo State that have been couched under document signing, MOU, memorandums, and what have you. And all of these are a mess. The governor of Edo State is a welfarist political ideologist. He approaches political leadership from a welfare perspective. And this is different from the corporate administrative paperwork you find in previous administrations, where everything about development in the state is found on papers and not on ground. So if you ask me, I think that we are right on track, and we will continue on this trajectory to transform the country.
Well, I'm glad that Mr. Ogbede is here, and I'm sure he can respond to that, because he was former commissioner, digital economy, science and technology. They say all you people did was on paper. Is that true?
Well, it's interesting to hear my friend say all he just said. I was wondering why he was speaking. Does he really live in Nigeria? Does he live in Benin? Is it not shameful that we're dealing with a catastrophe in Nigeria today? Insecurity is at its crescendo, and someone is talking about City Boy movement. This guy, 2016, it doesn't exist to them. From 2023, the focus was 2027. And Nigerians are angry and ashamed that these are people that were elected to oversee the affairs of the nation and deploy our resources to our benefits. We're seeing sustained and continued killings. We're seeing sustained and continued kidnap. But these people are focused on 2027. And my friend here is telling us about an Edo State that does not exist. I hope he goes back to Benin and let the people look the people in the eye and tell them what he's telling them now. Edo State has become an embarrassment. The governor is merely a content creator. We're seeing issues every now and then. Nigerians are laughing at Edo State. Just a few days ago, terrorists sponsored by the state government invaded the Museum for West African Arts, terrorizing visitors who came from all over the world to enjoy the beauty of our arts. And he's talking about security and what he was talking about empowerment.
Terrorists?
Yes, they were
that were using the name of the Oba and saying Oba Atokbe, you call them terrorists?
They were absolutely terrorists. There's no better definition for them. You invaded a private property, wielding weapons, chanting whatever they were saying. I don't care whatever they were saying, but the fact is that there were people in that property, yes, who were harassed, threatened, oppressed, and terrorized by these individuals. And it is laughable for anybody, no matter how much of a joke you want to tell, to come on national TV, to tell anybody that Edo State is moving forward. We've had 365 wasted days. There's a disease in Edo State today, in the APC, called the Obaseki derangement syndrome, where everything that revolves around the APC government is centered about Obaseki. Every moment you give, the governor sees the microphone and he immediately remembers Obaseki. He has been unable to focus on Edo State. He has been unable to focus on the people. Let him tell you one or two things that the government has done in the last 365 days. They're either buying vehicles, they're either encouraging the pilfering and pillage of state resources. The governor has committed impeachable offenses. The Ramat Park issue that they talk about was a contract that nobody knows about. Nobody is aware of the figures. Nobody was aware of the procurement process. There was no tenders board. There was no ESCO. The governor just does his own thing because he barely has enough education and the people around him to advise him on what to do. We cannot be talking about Edo State on a national TV. Edo State is an embarrassment today. It's a shame. So I would rather let's focus on the PDP issues and his city boy drama, not to talk about Edo State, because it will be an embarrassment to come all the way to talk about Edo State that has been dragged to the gutters, dragged to the mud on a sustained basis. We have a governor who cannot even pronounce his figures. Is that the kind of Edo State we're going to be talking about? Please.
Well, here we are, because some people who say this is the argument that politicians like to have, and, they will go back and forth. But on this issue of the museum, because you have just said that, terrorists, the people who were taken to or who went to the Museum for West African Arts were terrorists. But we do know that there has been a dispute on the ground. You have been on this program, or you were on this program last week to try and clear the air. The Commissioner for Information was in our studios in Benin. Unfortunately, we lost him when he was trying to respond to certain issues. So he came back on Monday to try and respond to some of the issues. Now, you have said that some of the things that were quoted in his own response on Monday were not correct. But he says that the C of O that was granted that property was granted in the name of Edo State Museum for West African Arts. But that right now, the name of that institution has since changed to Museum for West African Arts, and that this was done in the tail end. And it does appear that even though the Edo State government gave a huge sum of money to the building of that facility, they do not seem to be represented on the board, that board has been handed over to private hands. And so the Edo State government has no say whatsoever in terms of how that museum runs. Is that true?
First of all, there's sustained disinformation by the Honorable Commissioner for Information. This is beyond misinformation. This is now disinformation because it is a deliberate intent to lie to the Edo people. First of all, the Museum for West African Art was registered, with the Corporate Affairs Commission, but by limited guarantee. That is to say that it is not to be run as a business like they are thinking it to be. So whatever donations the Edo State government gave, or any government or any foundation, did not give as an investment or to have equity or to have return on investment on the museum. Museums generally across the world run on red. So first of all, the amount of money given by the Edo State government to MOA was 3.8 billion.
That's a significant sum of money.
Oh yes, and I was hearing the commissioner and even the governor say that the cost of building MOA cost 4.1 billion. And so since Edo State government gave 3.8 billion, they gave majority of the money and they now own it. And so I felt that I needed to educate, my friend, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, because we've seen that with the Edo State government as presently constituted, they don't have that excitement to read, and numbers scare them. So that's why I came to educate him. First of all, The 4.1 billion he talked about was the naira value for the bill of quantity for civil works only. That does not include mechanical costs, doesn't include electrical costs, doesn't include architectural, electrical design, production fees. It doesn't include, and that was just for phase 1 of the construction work. So altogether, we've put aside over 22 billion naira. What I mean that MOA has spent over 22 billion naira already on the construction of the pavilion. So the 3.8 billion they have, which MOA of course appreciates, was a free will donation to the charity. It wasn't an investment per se. So when Edo State is saying that they don't have a say, they were not supposed to have a say. Edo State has a seat on the board. The Palace of the Oba of Benin has a seat on the board. The Benin Traditional Council has a seat on the board, just as other interests, foundations, government who are donated. So everybody who made donations to MOA, they have seats on the board. So if the Edo State government is unwilling to take up their seat, that's not the fault of anybody. Everybody there's supposed to be a buy-in into the whole idea, which there is. So the wanting to take ownership of MOA by the Edo State government is not just tongue-in-cheek, it's kindergarten, it's asinine, ludicrous, makes no sense at all. It's just like you give a donation to a church. For example, the governor a few months ago gave 2.5 billion naira to UBTH. UBTH is the federal government institution built on state land. So is the governor going to go tomorrow because he doesn't like the face of the CMB to say, okay, I'm taking ownership of UBTH because we gave you a donation of 2.5 billion? So the donation that they gave of 3.8 billion to MOA was a free will donation, like many other individuals did, way above what the Edo State government did, and it was done willingly, so that we can build that museum that would, in turn, turn around the GDP of the state, improve the economy, create 25,000 jobs, and improve the lives of the people. We have people all over the world celebrating MOA, coming to Edo State, coming to Benin to enjoy the splendor of modern and contemporary art. But we're having Edo people wanting to destroy what development has come to the state, and that is a shame. And the Edo State governor,
you say you're having Edo people, wanting to destroy.
That is absolutely what it is, because this back and forth is needless. So did you seek
the buy-in of the people of Edo State?
No, hold on, sir. There's a buy-in of the people of Edo State. The average Edo man today, or the average Benin man, is excited about MOA. The average Benin man is wanting to.
So who are the Edo people who do not want it?
It is, like I said, the Obaseki derangement syndrome. Whatever Obaseki built in Edo State or encouraged in Edo State, there's been a deliberate attempt to destroy it. It's not just MOA, it's the Radisson Hotel, it's the Osioma power plant. Whatever Obaseki did, that is why, give my governor the microphone today. In the next 2 seconds, he's talking about Obaseki. It's a disease, and we're hoping that it is curable. Focus on leadership, focus on governance, leave Obaseki alone, let MOA try, because no matter what it is, MOA was built for the Benin people, was built for the Nigerian people, was built for West Africa, and it's going to stay and it's going to try.
Mr. Yakire.
Yeah, thank you so much. You said the controversies around whether it is the Benin Royal Museum, or it is the Edo Museum for West African Art, or it is the Museum of West African Art. It's a controversy that has been sold by persons who probably do not even have the nitty-gritty of it. I'll give you the starting point. That museum was built on the ground of Central Hospital. That hospital, there used to be an emblem. I went there and I've seen it. It was commissioned in 1914. That's when that hospital was built. An hospital was demolished to create a museum, to put artifacts that foreigners will come in, and to talk about creating 25,000 jobs. I begin to wonder, the entire workforce in the entire state, how many are they? Even if you add the private sector put together, 25,000 workforce. But let's leave that aside. Let's look at the facts. They said that 3.8 billion of the 4.1 billion was for phase 1. Where is phase 2? I have been there. If I went there, it was from that place I came to the airport to travel to Abuja yesterday. There is no line to put it. Where are you going to put phase 2? Where is phase 3 coming in? So all of these are stories, and just recently we're beginning to hear it was 20-something billion that were the total amount. All of these are reactionary measures that are coming as a result of the governor asking questions of who owns this building. You don't promise the palace. The Oba of Benin is held in high esteem in Benin. You don't promise the governor a birthday gift of gifting him the Benin Royal Museum, and then you turn around, you turn it to the Edo Museum, and then you use the government's land that was supposed to serve the common man, because that is the only hospital that is located at the center of the city.
That's not true.
And the distance from, let me finish, please.
That is not true.
Let me finish, please.
No, don't lie to the people.
Distance from the National Museum to this Museum of West African Art they are telling you now, it's a stone throw. If you stand in the National Museum, you are going to be seeing the new museum. And we begin to ask ourselves, what were the reasons for this? Is it that there was a need for this?
We have a national museum. If you stand in the national museum, it's a stone throw to this MOA we are talking about. That MOA used to be a central hospital. In fact, it was known as Central Hospital Benin, saving a common man. And that is the state-owned central hospital in that senatorial district, providing affordable healthcare services for the people. This hospital was demolished, and the hospital staff were moved to a sickle cell center for them to attend to that. And some of them were scattered around. Some were moved to Stella Obasanjo part facilities and what have you. And we're asking the question, what is more important to the people? Is it a museum or to provide basic health care to these people? Okay. Now we have gone past that point. Sorry, 1 minute, let me finish. We've gone past that now. The museum is there. The question now is, you built a museum on a state land using state resources that it was donated, and you are telling them that they cannot access it, that it's a private investment. You see, if you go to Karl Marx, it will tell you about alienation. This is clearly alienation of the Benin people. And worse off is the alienation of the Benin palace. Because all of these were done to undermine the authority of the palace. Forget about the sham they tell you about. They had a representative in the council, they had a representative in the board. Let the governor, Godwin Obaseki, the former governor, let him come and explain himself. The facts are there. The governor have already set up, he sent a document to the State Assembly to explain this. He's also set up a committee led by former governor to dig into this issue and investigate. And I think that even the other agencies should be brought in. More committees need to even be set up. The judiciary should even have a commission on this, because a lot of money, state government funds, went into this, and nobody seems to be telling anything. And you are saying that it was voluntarily donated.
Okay, because we are totally out of time. Mr. Efalu Yisibo, the state government has now set up a committee led by Senator Adams Oshiomhole to, bring let's say, understand precisely what has happened with MOA. Do you think that the Obaseki administration will be sending a representation to clear the air once and for all to that committee?
Well, first of all, the committee was made up of jokers, led by Adams Oshiomhole.
You're calling him a joker?
Oh, yes.
You're calling a sitting senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria a joker, a former governor of Edo State.
That is how I perceive him to be. That is how I perceive him to be, and I have a right to how I perceive him to be. Number one, that's number one. He was the one who told the governor, the day the Supreme Court had given them judgment, he made it clear on video that he should revoke the land given to MOA. Before all of this happened, Oshiomhole has said, revoke the MOA land. So he was a biased factor on from the beginning. So such a person now, you put him as the chairman of the committee. That's why it's a joke. And it's a band of jokers. That's number one. Before the governor made that committee, he has sent a letter to the House of Assembly to investigate MOA. That has not been done. You have not waited for the report from the House of Assembly. You created another committee to do what exactly? While all this was still going on, the governor went ahead to revoke the land given to MOA. What sense does it really make? There's a House of Assembly committee investigating MOA. You set up a different committee investigating MOA. You are preempting that committee to revoke MOA land. Then again, the federal government has set up another committee to resolve the issues. Then yesterday, the House of Assembly has set up another committee, the House of Reps, to resolve the MOA issue. It is an Obaseki derangement syndrome that is affecting my friends. And to the lie that a hospital was demolished, it is not true. The Central Hospital was built in 1902, and by the early 2000s, it was no longer functional. It has become like a poultry farm. Governor Adams Oshiomhole built a central hospital just beside that hospital. So when they say a hospital was demolished to build a museum, he's lying to himself and it's just tongue-in-cheek. The central hospital, the special hospital was built by Adams Oshiomhole, equipped by Governor Obaseki, and I know people are using it.
Yeah, let me explain something to you there. Yes, there's an Edo specialist hospital.
But you denied it just now.
No, we never made reference to that. And I think to call a sitting...
That is my opinion and it stands. It doesn't matter how you feel about it.
It only tells you
he is a joker.
The mentality of the PDP. You understand? It tells you the mentality of the people.
As an individual, it's not PDP.
The national chairman calling for external incursion into the country. This is the mentality. This is the mentality. You're from Ego. In your local government, we just built a very
gentlemen, we are totally out of time. We have to go on the program. Well, we have to thank you both for coming on the program. Clearly, it's going to take a while before this controversy settles. But we have had with us now studios Mr. Abdullah Yakire, who is a member of the City Boy movement in Edo State, and Mr. Ogbede Efalu Yisibo, who is a former commissioner, Digital Economy, Science and Technology in Edo State, and also the organizing secretary of the People's Democratic Party in the state. Well, that's where we wrap up today's program. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogunyusuf.
Well, I'm glad to be out of that conversation, Maokwe. Have fun. Amaya Makinde, enjoy the rest of your day.